Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of What You Won't Hear on TV. Today's segment is going to be about the controversial bill being proposed called CISPA, or the Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act. This bill comes right on the heels of the much-publicized SOPA bill in January, which caused many of the biggest internet sites to go black for the day in protest of its provisions to strengthen a company's ability to police web domains linking intellectual property and copyrighted material. The protests that came from that resulted in the bill being dropped, if you remember, only for the Motion Picture Association of America to announce that it would be back to try again. CISPA, however, is not that aforementioned threatened bill, but it is one that is in many ways worse than what SOPA proposed, while having the backing of over 800-plus companies. This juggernaut has the support of numerous banks, telecommunications companies, and a small little website called Facebook. The purpose of the bill is to, quote, to provide for the sharing of certain cyber threat intelligence and cyber threat information between the intelligence community and cybersecurity entities, and for other purposes, end quote. That's H.R. Bill 3523. If that sounds rather obscure to you, then you heard correctly. You know all those annoying privacy statements that you get in the mail about how your account is protected or information would not be shared? Many of them point out that your information would not be shared to third-party businesses for advertising purposes, and that it has always been a given that if the government, wanting to obtain information on your bank and communications records, would need a court order to obtain your information and have to show reasonable evidence of a threat that would warrant releasing your private information. If CISPA is passed, it would go beyond the already deteriorating Fourth Amendment protections, as also bypassed by the Patriot Act, and allow companies to freely share information on users with the government in exchange for classified knowledge as to how to protect their commercial sites from attacks, such as the infamous denial-of-service attacks. As the article from The Hill on April 18th stated, quote, your private information could be shared with organizations like the CIA, the Motion Picture Association of America, or your employer with 100% anonymity, thus making them immune to legal action, end quote. There are two things going on with this bill. First, while a company has a right to protect their intellectual property, a main reason for the bill is to protect key American infrastructures from foreign and domestic attacks. For example, power companies, many of which are nuclear facilities, can actually have computer commands sent to various equipment that maintains the conversion process, and that would overload the system, causing mass equipment failure leading to devastating results. A true national security concern. The bill would potentially help reveal the identities and whereabouts of foreign espionage groups, and could help protect American interests at home and abroad. The second reason for the bill would be to subvert known hacker groups, such as Anonymous, and help stop activist actions before they materialize. For example, most of the Occupy Wall Street movement was organized on social media sites and spread to multiple cities to protest income inequality and insider trading in Washington. While not completely organized, the media attention was great, and disruption to businesses were felt. More importantly, the idea that the downtrodden and jobless could come together on a united front and demand an end to the wide gap in income distribution is a frightening idea to business interests. Certainly, they shouldn't be allowed media attention to give people any ideas or let them question their current paradigm. Such questioning is counterproductive and outside of the script. The hacker group Anonymous, on the other hand, effectively shut down large corporations like Sony as a protest for their heavy-handedness towards a hacker from LulzSec, attempting to inflate his legal fees by trying him in another state, to make an example out of him. The activist response was swift, and most of Anonymous still remains at large. CISPA would allow companies like Sony to exchange user information with the government secretly in exchange for confidential information on how to protect its network from thieves and activists. In other words, as Forbes.com puts it, the bill would almost certainly be used to punish people accused by copyright holders of infringement or domestic online activists, rather than go after spies or other organized criminal actors. Interestingly enough, the Obama administration on April 19th voiced opposition to key provisions to CISPA, as they did with SOPA in January. According to the article, The White House Speaks Out Against CISPA on TomSguide.com, National Security spokeswoman Caitlin Hayden on Tuesday evening saying that, quote, any cybersecurity legislation must include strong privacy protections. It must also set mandatory security standards for critical infrastructure systems, such as electrical grids and water supplies. Furthermore, she stated that while information sharing legislation is an essential component of comprehensive legislation to address critical infrastructure risks, information sharing provisions must include robust safeguards to preserve the privacy and civil liberties of our citizens. So the real question is whether or not the Obama administration is genuinely concerned with citizens' privacy, or are they poaching for voters indirectly this election year without directly siding with the activists to avoid political turmoil associated with it? CISPA is set for vote in the House next week, so keep your eyes open. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.